Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our first classic pay-per-view review, and this week's is Vengeance 2001, the first annual Vengeance event. And then they stopped, it's the event that stopped Armageddon for a year. And nonetheless, of course, I am your host, Caleb Johnson. I am joined here by Jamie. Jamie, how you doing?
I can't believe my hiatus is over.
It's over.
I mean, I was off the channel all of us were off the channel for so damn long. I deserve this break, and now you called my ass back.
Exactly. We called your ass back.
You needed me back so desperately.
Oh, so desperately. We needed you, James.
But then again, I needed something to do after Hurricane Arthur, not Tropical Storm Arthur, because those winds are too fucking powerful. Hurricane Arthur knocked out my power, so I need something to do here, going nuts for a week. So this, I guess you could consider this a good thing. Just don't waste my
poor
damn
James
time.
had no power for a week.
Dude, it was hell.
I'm sorry.
I mean, you really don't realize how much you use power until it's gone. And I'm not talking I have power over someone. No, actual power, like turning on a switch and a light coming on. You don't realize how much of that stuff you use every day until it's gone.
Exactly. And speaking of power, Vengeance 2001, of course, just going into the review, it kicked off with Vince McMahon showing his somewhat power, talking about the whole unification happening and whatnot. What were you saying?
I said, nice segue.
Oh, it was a very nice segue. Of course, and basically there's a little segment between him and Flair and whatnot, and then we got into the opening contest, which apparently was not announced before, and it just felt so random, because, all of these guys have been in tag teams, but, they weren't with their normal partners. It was really weird.
Just a random match on a pay-per-view. Gee, that reminds me of something.
Oh.
It's only happened, every show so far this year besides Mania.
Exactly. This was a very random match, and that was a Scotty 2 Hottie and Albert versus Test and Christian. And of course, this was probably the most filler match on this show. And to open it up, there's not really much to be said. I actually don't even remember who won. I just hit my hand on my desk.
Albert and Scotty 2 Hottie. I'm looking at the results right here.
Okay, yeah, I figured they won. I think Albert pinned Christian or some shit.
I want to say it was your basic Raw match.
Yeah, it wasn't anything really special. It was just kind of nothing. Not much to talk about at all.
Yeah, well, there was already 8 matches on the card, so I guess they just threw this one on there to make 9, and 10, I guess, if you count the Heat match, but 9, and I think the show still went under 3 hours.
Yeah, it was 2 hours and 40 minutes. In fact, the last hour was dedicated to the last 3 matches, so they did 6 matches in an hour and 40 minutes. There's not much to say about this match. Scotty 2 Hottie and Albert won. It was just filler. And then we go to matchup number 2, which was for the Intercontinental Championship, and that was when Intercontinental Champion Edge defended against William Regal. I will say this was the first in, I believe, 3 pay-per-views in a row that they had matches, and this was the only one Edge won. And this was I thought this was a great match. I thought it was a very solid match. It was very above average match. I liked it a lot. It was a lot better than the opener. It was just good. I liked the finish, but I felt like they no-sold the spear a bit at the end whenever Regal immediately was able to get out of the ring and walk away. But nonetheless, it was good.
I think that's always been one thing with Regal is that his selling was always a little bit off. It was never bad, but it was different. I'll say that.
Yeah, Regal has an interesting style of selling.
Yeah.
He'll do it, but he'll sell and no sell at the same time. If that makes any sense.
I think it was a couple of years ago, when he sold the knockout, when he sold the knockout blow from Big Show, and he just kind of did a little running in a circle on the ground or whatever he was doing. But yeah.
Yeah, Regal's an interesting cat, but none, like I said, this match was
Yeah.
really good. I liked it. It started off a good series of matches. Edge and Regal always had really good chemistry because Edge and Regal have chemistry with like everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a good match. I really
Solid
enjoyed it.
match, yeah.
Yeah, it was solid. I really liked it. And then moving on, we have the third match of the night, which was Jeff Hardy versus Matt Hardy with Lita as the guest referee, which was the first matchup between the Hardys in WWE that I'm aware of, and it was on pay-per-view. It was not as good as their rivalry that would happen like 8 years later, but it was still an okay match. I mean, the finish was the finish was really good.
It was a decent match. My only problem with this one, and it's the main issue I have, is that it felt so forced, and at the time, nobody wanted to see the Hardys break up. It didn't really make much sense, and they were back together within a month.
See, the only thing I will say is going into it, I don't think it was bad, but just the fact that they kept teaming afterwards and that they teamed together at WrestleMania like 3 months later, I think that was the problem. And as far as no one wanting to see the Hardys split up is no one should ever want to see a face team split up when they split up.
No.
But still, it's just I mean, the match was okay, the story it told was okay, but like, you see, at the time, like if we had gone into that pay-per-view, it would have been like, oh man, yeah, the Hardys are breaking up, it's good. But in retrospective, because of what happens after, that takes away from the match and the storyline. It's like Orton versus it's like Orton winning the world title from Chris Benoit. It's like at the time it was probably fucking amazing, but then in retrospective it didn't mean much.
But then afterwards it completely flatlined.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, they completely acted like they were going to break up the Hardys. They were breaking up the Hardys, and then they kind of just did for a month, and they teamed together at WrestleMania.
I mean, like they practically cock teased it, and then like, hey, we'll throw them back together, and then 8 years later, like, hey, let's actually do it, and let's do it right this time.
Oh, they did. I'm so glad that that's not how they brought in Christian.
Yes. Well, I mean, it would have been different, but I do think in the way that they went, I think it was overall a better choice. Because after Matt lost after Matt lost the the championship to Swagger, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. After that, like, what else were you really going to do with him? I mean, like, there wasn't much for him at that time. And turning heel was really the best option. And then to finally do the Hardys thing, like them finally breaking up, even though at that time they weren't really teaming, but, to finally do that feud and do it properly, and they had 2 really good matches. And then afterwards, I don't think they teamed up again.
They did in 2009.
They did? Okay, well...
And then they have multiple times in the last 6 years, or 5 years, or how long it's been.
Yeah.
Anyway, but nonetheless, I mean, it's good that they eventually got a good rivalry out of it. And then number 4, which this one also felt really random, is the Dudleys versus Kane and the Big Show for the World Tag Team titles. But this match was kind of a sleep. Like, I wasn't paying attention to this match very much. We did get to see Stacy Keibler's ass for the most part, which was very nice. We got to see Big Show, whose hand is bigger than her ass, slap it, which that must have been pretty painful. The only thing I really remember is that the finish was I keep wanting to call it a Deadly Death Drop instead of the 3D, which I usually call it just the 3D. But anyway, It ended with a 3D to. Was the turnbuckle exposed?
I'm not gonna lie, I honestly do not remember, but I think it was.
I think so. And then the Dudleys beat Big Show and Kane. Big Show and Kane. That's just it. Just proves they've been randomly pairing those guys together for years.
And it's also a team that works. Really, I mean, like they worked for. I think they were tag champions in 2005, and then they lost them, I think, like the night after Mania in 2006, and then they paired up again in 2011. I mean, both times it worked.
Yeah, Big Show and Kane are a nice tag team to slap together every once in a while.
Oh yeah, they're a nice, good thrown together team that works. That doesn't involve Kofi Kingston.
Kofi Kingston had two really good thrown together teams, though. And then he had his shitty team with CM Punk. But
I
then
like that team a little bit.
it wasn't as good as Air Boom or his team with Truth.
Oh, Air Boom.
Then we got, the whole point is, I guess the Big Show and Kane definitely shouldn't have won this. It would have made no sense. Because one thing too is Big Show didn't even do anything at WrestleMania that year, and the Dudleys had a pretty big Fatal 4-Way tag. But Billy and Chuck won, but still.
Show was at the fucking.
WrestleMania, baby, woo!
Show was at the fucking restaurant. They're the World, I think. That's what. Yeah. That was. And I love how they actually use that for his thing with Rose, in I believe in 28, but like.
Oh, that was hilarious.
But like that is another video for another time.
That will never be a video.
Well, that's another mention in another video at another date.
If we ever review WrestleMania 28, I suppose.
Yeah.
Then going on, we had matchup number 5, which was Rob Van Dam versus The Undertaker for the Hardcore Championship. This is when Undertaker went full-on heel and badass and went on that great heel run. And so him and RVD basically had a fucking hardcore title match, and it was fucking awesome. There was a point where they got dust in their faces, and it was hilarious.
I do remember seeing this match before I watched, because this was the first time I had watched the pay-per-view, in one sitting. But I do remember seeing this match and really, really liking it, and I'm saying the same thing now. I mean, I really, really did like it. And my favorite part was most likely the I want to say it was the ending where Van Dam just gets chokeslammed off the stage and lands on those tables.
Yeah, that was great. This was a really brutal match, and even though Undertaker was pretty dominant during it, they really did make you feel like RVD had a fighting chance. But at the end of the day, he was nothing to the power of the Undertaker, and Undertaker was the title to Maven on SmackDown.
I do love it though when they actually go around the entire arena and not just in the ring, outside the ring, so that also really helped.
Oh yeah, this match was really good. I would say it was probably my second or third favorite match of the night. I think it was a really great hardcore title match, and it's one of those rare things where you don't people don't talk about that. Undertaker was hardcore champion, and he was in the hardcore division for a month.
He was, yeah.
And it was all pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
That was a great match. The ending was great. Overall, it was just a fun match, and the story going into it was pretty nice. It felt random that RVD felt I feel like they could have copied or just cut and pasted any wrestler, any face into RVD's position. But either way, Undertaker's storyline going into it was awesome.
I want to say it was kind of like a precursor to Taker and Jeff Hardy there that one night.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it was great though.
And then at number 6, which was probably the worst match of the night since nothing really happened, was Trish Stratus versus Jacqueline for the women's title. Trish won, but I literally remember nothing about this match. This is the only one. I remember nothing.
According to Wikipedia, it lasted 3 minutes and 35 seconds.
That's believable. I don't remember it lasting.
That's all. You don't need to know much more else than that. It was your basic it was your basic women's match, really.
At the time it wasn't, though. At the time they were having really good women's matches a lot, but it's more like a division match you'd get nowadays.
I want to say they were the victims of time, but then again, they threw on another random ass match. So.
Yeah, if they hadn't had the random opening match, this match might have been good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they were just victims of time. So there's not anything else really to be said about this match.
No, not really.
So then we go into the final three matches, which are the unified championship matches to figure out who the unified champion would be. And first up is Stone Cold defending the WWF title against Kurt Angle, where of course, the winner would advance to the. Well, I guess you could. It's a main.
Can I just say now, I miss calling someone the World Wrestling Federation champion.
Oh yeah, it was great.
Because that is just an epic name.
Oh yeah, the WWF was a great name.
Oh yeah, and then the Pandas had to get involved.
Fucking Pandas. God damn it, Kevin Steen. Keep your Pandas in line. So yeah, I mean, Kurt Angle and Stone Cold. I mean, Kurt Angle and Stone Cold. Like 2001 was the year where they were having like matches every single week, and they had so many fucking matches. And I think their SummerSlam match was better than this match, but still, nonetheless, I mean, it was a nice match. I mean, the ending. I loved the ending stunner. The way Angle sold that was amazing.
Angle selling in general was just really good.
Angle was so like whenever it's one of those weird things where if you look at Angle back when he had hair, he was such a fucking goofball.
Angle played the nerd so well.
Then he shaved his head and had to become a badass.
Oh my god, and I'm assuming, I mean, like, he must have said this probably millions of times, but like, I assume he must have planned on shaving his head because he's been bald now for over 10 years.
Oh, he's been bald for 12 years. It's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Stone Cold won, which and whatnot. And, I think everyone expected Stone Cold to go to the finals of this. And even, I think a lot of people thought he would become undisputed champion.
Yeah.
And still, yeah, nonetheless, it was a good match. And I would say it was probably the third, fourth best match of the night. Something like that.
It was a solid match, but I remember they had a match on Raw. I think it was the night after No Mercy. I think when Angle had that 1 day reign. I would say that's my favorite one between them. But this one was solid, though. I liked it.
Oh, yeah. It was really good. Then matchup number 8 was for the WCW or I guess technically it was for the World Championship because they stopped calling it the WCW title. We had The Rock defending against Chris Jericho. Now, I thought this match was easily match of the night. I mean, these two had such good chemistry with each other. It was a fun match. The finish was great, and you really felt like Rock was gonna. It was just one of those things where it was like the classic face thing where like Jericho was getting the upper hand at times, but then at the end of the day, you thought Rock was gonna finish off the pussy heel, and then you get the low blow and the rock bottom, and Jericho pins him, and it was fucking awesome.
It was one of the rare times where someone actually lost to their own finishing move.
Oh, yes, and losing a championship, no less.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It was, and Rock would not be champion again for like 7 months or something like that.
Yeah. Rock and Jericho have unbelievably good chemistry.
Yeah, people forget how good they were together.
I mean, if you just found like 2 photos of them and you put them side by side, you think these guys would never match up at all. But then you throw them together in the ring for a match, and then holy shit, it's really good. Their match from No Mercy that year was, oh my god, underrated. And this one, and this match was no different.
And this match had 50% less Stephanie McMahon beating.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it was an awesome, awesome match. And then Jericho won the WCW title, which I don't think anyone saw coming because I think everyone thought they were getting Rock and Jericho oh my god, they already got Rock and Jericho. Everyone thought they were getting.
I was gonna say
for the undisputed title, but nonetheless, Jericho defeated The Rock. And then we have the main event, which was Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Chris Jericho for the undisputed championship between WWF and the World Championship. And I will say, this was a very good match. I really enjoyed it. I thought the finish of Booker fucking Austin over wasn't bad at all. And I think Jericho winning was nice because it just blindsided everyone. Because I thought they were like, okay, so Jericho beat The Rock, because it's going to make them, because I'm sure a lot of people were like, okay, Jericho won this, but he's not going to beat Austin. Because it's going to, Vince, it's going to show like Vince maybe has a chance to get someone he wants to win, but it's not going to work out. But then it's like, holy fuck, Jericho's undisputed champion, what's going on? It's nuts. I love the fact that they gave the title to Jericho because it was so random, and the dude was pretty deserving. I mean, Dude was awesome, and the dude left WC. The dude didn't even become WCW champion until he left WCW.
Nope.
But it was really, like I said, I really liked
I-
this match, and I really did like. Booker fucking him over was good because Jericho was a heel, and they needed to show that Vince wanted him to win.
Was this before or after Austin beat the fuck out of Booker T in the?
It was around that time. I'm not sure if it was before or after.
Yeah. I will say this match was good, because, well, first off, Jericho had just finished wrestling for 20 minutes, and Austin was recovering from wrestling for 15 minutes with Angle, and if you're going to go in the ring with Angle, I mean, you are going to be breathing heavily after the match.
Yeah, exactly.
So this match was good. Booker being in there, I mean, like, that was completely fine. It made really, really, really good sense. And this also gave Jericho the distinct honor and pleasure of saying, for the past now nearly 13 years, I beat The Rock and Stone Cold on the same night. And to this day, still reminds us.
Exactly. He had a pretty big feather in his cap, or he has a big feather in his cap because of it.
He beat two of the biggest stars of the Attitude Era in less than an hour.
Yeah, he wrestled for like 40 minutes straight with no rest.
And you're going at it with Rock and Austin, and both guys are going to bring it.
Oh, definitely.
But yeah, overall, this show.
Overall, it was just a great show. I mean, they had. I would say there was about 5 really good matches, and I would say whenever you have 5 out of 9 matches be really above average, and then because I would say all of the matches involving the titles, RVD and Undertaker, and then Edge and Regal were all pretty above average matches. Then you have Matt Hardy versus Jeff Hardy, which is a pretty good match. Then the tag team title matches weren't really anything, and the Divas match was just like a small part of the show that was non-memorable. I don't even remember the finish. It's the only one I don't remember the finish. I even kind of remember Albert doing something to like powerbomb Christian or something. But I
believe that was it, yeah.
It was whatever the fuck his finisher was at the time. But yeah, overall, I think it's a really great show, and it's definitely a history-making show because when the Undertaker won his only hardcore title, and it is when the titles were unified and Jericho became undisputed champion.
And then 12 years later, they were unified again.
Exactly, and then Flair walked away with one of them. Maybe he was just drunk and forgot to give it back to Cena.
Possibly.
Maybe he was like, maybe he thought it was maybe he was like, what? I'm facing Jeff Jarrett for this. Woo! And maybe that's what happened. You don't know. But nonetheless, it was a good show. Nonetheless, everybody, you can feel free to favorite, hit the like button, and subscribe, and comment. Let us know what you think. If you think the show was pretty good and you like the show, let me know. If you thought the show was shit for some reason, let me know. If you think I'm an asshole or Jamie's a fucking asshole, or you think we're both stupid assholes.
Because I will gladly agree with you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, just let us know. I mean, say whatever the fuck you want in the comment section. I don't give a fuck. If you want to say this is difficult to masturbate to, well, you'd be pretty wrong, wouldn't you, big boy? But nonetheless,
recommend shows recommend shows for us as well.
What?
I'm suggesting to the audience to recommend old pay-per-views for us to review now that the network is out.
Oh, okay, yes, definitely. Basically what we're doing is WWE, WCW, and then ECW every other week in that cycle. So it's like basically 6 weeks is one full cycle because we'll have 3 reviews. So we really only do a WWE one, once. So like in 12 weeks you only see 2 WWE reviews for classic pay-per-views. So you never know. So yeah, let us know which ones you want or whatever, put whatever the fuck you want in the comment section. Unless it's if it's not too bad or hateful or like if it hurts my feelings, I'll get rid of it because I don't get offended by comments. But if it really offends me,
if you recommend us the big event, you will be judged.
If they recommend the big event, I'll watch it. Like it's a fucking horrible show, but why not? I can talk about how horrible it is for 30 minutes.
I can't promise you I won't fall asleep.
I understand, James. Anyway, nonetheless, that's pretty much it for our Vengence 2001 review. You can subscribe for lots of other shit. So yeah,